Hi, I'm Oriel Marshall. I'm from Scotland. I did my Masters in Astrophysics at the University of St Andrews, where I graduated in 2019. I'm currently working as a young graduate trainee at the European Space Agency, working in exoplanet education. My career path so far has been in astrophysics education research, and I'm going on to do a PhD in that next month. So very excited. So I graduated from the University of St Andrews with a Masters in Astrophysics in 2019. After that, I worked with the university for a little while with the supervisor from my master's project. I was hired to work for her and the Sloan Digital Sky Survey for a little while, creating educational content for Sloan Digital Sky Survey. I then got to go and present that in Chile and some, lessons and teacher workshops in Scotland as well. I then worked for Dundee Science Centre for a little while, and then got put on furlough because of COVID. But I worked as the widening access program coordinator there, which basically meant that I was creating and presenting content for underrepresented audiences at Dundee Science Centre. Then I was put on furlough for a while. And then back in October of 2020, I started working here at the European Space Agency, where I'm a young graduate trainee. And my position is based in CHEOPs education. So it's working with the CHEOPs mission, creating educational content based around exoplanets and the work that the CHEOPs mission does. I'll actually be starting a PhD in exoplanet education in June, so very soon, and that will be at the University of Antwerp and Copenhagen. I also did a whole bunch of various volunteering and things, but I'm sure we'll address that in later questions. So my first job outside of the university was at Dundee Science Centre, and basically I got that job through making a lot of contacts and doing a bunch of applications. I applied for various other jobs as well, which is a key thing to do, just like find things that you're interested in and just go for it, just apply for lots of things. The ratio of like interviews you'll get as opposed to applications is like not huge, so apply lots. So the way that I actually got to working at Dundee Science Centre is that I knew I wanted to move to Dundee, and I had my eye on Dundee Science Centre, where I was like, I like the place, I like the people that work there, and I was like, I think like this would be a place that would be well suited to. So I actually applied for one open position right at the end of my master's. So it was the day before I did my final viva for my master's. I applied for the position of, it was another program coordinator, I can't remember the exact title, but I applied for that job and did loads of prep for the interview and things. Did the interview, didn't get the position, but they said they were very impressed and pleased, and they keep me in mind. Since then, after doing that interview, I kept in close contact with people from Dundee Science Centre. And then when a new position came up, I actually got told about it by Dundee Science Centre and was like, we're really impressed by your previous interview. We'd love for you to interview for this. And I interviewed and got the job. So that was a bit of networking. And I also knew a lot of people from Dundee Science Centre because I did, while I was at university, I volunteered a lot with various like outreach groups and like Stand Engaged and doing explorathons and science days and things. So I knew a lot of people that worked at the Science Centre anyway. And then the way that I got my job at the European Space Agency was that my colleague at Dundee Science Centre found the position advertised online, and she was like, this is like what you're working in, or like, I think you'd be good for this, you should apply. And then I applied, did a couple of online interviews and got it. So partly just that it just happened to be a position that I was really well suited to with my background. I think also in the interviews and things I just showed enthusiasm, hopefully. I think also the fact that I'd done a bunch of volunteering and things in the right fields, I think helped. I did an internship in physics education with Anne-Marie Wymans and Charlie Bailey. And that was yeah, after my second year. And the way that I got that was, again, I was on my little mission of basically I found out that those were lecturers who were interested in physics education, and I was like, hello, I want to do things, what can I do, can I work with you in the summer? And this was like, this came up. But you know, I think there's a lot of internships and things outside of university as well. I mean, outside of St Andrews is what I mean. So it's worth just like keeping an eye out, see what's out there. I know, for example, I've got some friends who were in my class in physics. They did a couple of internships, and they're now in full-time employment with those same companies. And in terms of other opportunities, I mean, mine were mainly education-based, where I was working with the public engagement team. That we did things like, you know, going to the Explorathon or presenting my dissertation at like the there was like public events and things where I could present at, and I got the chance to like go to, there's this project called Cell Block Science, and I got to go and present create and present a lesson on the solar system in prisons, which was really cool, really like interesting experience. But again, it was just the kind of thing of you know, keeping in contact with people that I knew were doing the sort of interesting stuff I wanted to be involved in. I also, myself and a peer, one of my classmates, we set up this group where we went out to primary schools and taught primary sevens how to solder. And that was something that, you know, my friend, she just, you know, came up with this idea and, you know, ran with it. And we went to, you know, we got funding from the head of physics and, you know, got equipment and things and just went and did it. So there's sort of a wide range of ways to get involved in things, whether that's, you know, through the university or outside of it. There's a lot of different options. I think I've been quite lucky so far. And firstly, you know, I only graduated in 2019, so I've not had, you know, years and years of experience to get, you know, have these like massive setbacks and things. But I've had, you know, for example, like not getting the, you know, there's a bunch of jobs that I applied for back when I first graduated and I didn't get, you know, didn't get some of them. But with those, the way that you sort of get over that is like, ask, oh, what could I have done differently? And then you learn from it and then you move on and you find another job. And I'm sure with a lot of people, what with COVID and being put on furlough, that was, you know, quite an interesting career like thing that happens where, you know, suddenly I was, you know, I went from getting all this experience and being, you know, working in the field that I wanted to be in to then like, oh, okay, I've got like 7 months of not doing anything career related. But I think, you know, during that time, I just did a lot of, you know, like my own hobbies and things, which was really nice to get that time. But also I was keeping up with, like, I did like a Python course online. And I was sort of just like keeping like up to date a little bit with like what was going on. The main thing that I've had to like deal with at the moment is that I wanted to stay on for my full contract at my young graduate traineeship here at ESA, which would have been till October. But the PhD I applied for started in June. So that's been a sort of, I mean, not so much a setback because, you know, I'm going to go do a PhD, which is excellent. I'm very excited. But it meant that I had to wrap up my work at ESA a lot sooner than I was hoping to. So that's been, I wouldn't say so much like a setback, but more of like a challenge to deal with, is that suddenly I've got 4 months left, 4 months less than I had anticipated at this job. And so it's just been a case of like, okay, rethink my time frame, rethink what I'm going to get finished in this time. So the disappointing thing is that, you know, I've not been able to finish up everything that I wanted to, but it's just a case of reassessing my guidelines. I think that's something that's quite applicable in a lot of positions, is that thing of your plans aren't always going to go how you think they're going to go. And you have to be able to sort of, you know, move on, like, okay, this is what I thought I was going to do, but let's move on and restructure and have to think about it again in a different light and rework it to whatever works in that situation. So that's what I've been doing at the moment, is reworking my game plan in order to fit this shorter time frame. I think it's going quite well, but there was definitely like a good few weeks where I was, tearing my hair out a bit, freaking out that I wasn't going to get things wrapped up to where I wanted them to be. But yes, I think being able to just, think on your feet a little bit and be able to chuck something out the window and think, okay, rework it, restructure it, and, go like hit the ground running with your new plan, I guess. So I guess the sort of teachable points there is be able to, realize that things aren't going to go how you planned. Like my time at Dundee Science Centre didn't go as planned, and that obviously got cut short. I had loads of plans I wanted to do there, and I had to leave them all completely half finished because we had to leave literally halfway through the day. Like, nope, everybody's going home. So it's just a case of realizing that things aren't always going to go to plan, and you got to just work with it because that's always going to happen.